February 27, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on a 2000 tick chart. I'm using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. There was a huge amount of volume today, a lot of price movement. This is how the chart looked in this pre-market. It kind of rallied, sold off on this sharp move, bounced. Kind of looked like it was a sideways consolidation, sold off, bounced, and then it had another sell-off and then a gradual sell-off here. So this is how I drew the charts today. It was really, there was a lot of things happening. There was so many bars today because I'm going to just show from the regular trading hours to the close. It shows that there are about 850 bars. On a 1 minute chart, there's 6 hours and 6.5 hours of actual trading. So 6.5 hours at 1 minute bars, you get about 390 candles. And this is about double that. This is more than double that. So there was a lot of price action today. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. The only economic data that came out was at 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is way over here. It was the preliminary GDP unemployment claims. And then there were a few other items that came out, and then Trump came out to speak. I think he was meeting with another world leader today, and there was talks about tariffs, imposing them on various countries. And so there was just a lot of price action today, and it was to be honest, it was very tiring after a while trying to follow this all because it kind of oscillated quite a bit above the EMA, below the EMA. So you had to kind of reverse your bias from long to long to short. And I was just kind of hunting and looking for setups. I did find a few setups, but also the candles were really large. So you'd have to increase your risk tolerance or your risk and stop losses. So it was, I would say it was kind of there was a lot of things happening. It was, for me, challenging, and I actually got really mentally kind of tired after about 3 hours. Because after about 3 hours, about 6:30 to 9:30, it was like all this price action already happened, and then it just kind of kept going. So I'm gonna go through the trades right now, try to go through as fast as I can, but it was just a lot of things happening, and yeah, it was kind of it's a rarity, but seeing this much volume. I did take one trade today, and it's right here. It was profitable. I didn't go for a runner because, to be honest, I kind of had a feeling I didn't really know what was going on because by the time I took the runner, which is about right here, you can see the timestamps at 7:03. So that's only 30 minutes after the open, and there was already this much price action that happened. So I could already tell things were kind of wild today. The market sold off really strongly though. So pre-market, you had this really big push up, and even before the market opened, you could just tell what the character of the day is going to be. You could just see from here, even in the pre-market, there was already 123 bars, which is quite a bit. Okay, so in the pre-market, it looked like it made one leg down, a correction on this red down channel, push up, and then another yellow down channel coming down. I did see, well, I didn't see it in real time, but I identified what I thought was probably a possible trade. There's this yellow down channel. It's a new low. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short, I like that this engulfing bar moved above and then it closed, well, actually pushed below the previous bar. And there's just enough room to scalp out, but it's in the pre-market, so I wouldn't have been able to see it or take it anyways. Market opens up. It looks like it's two legs down. At this point, I'm thinking we're probably going to be in a range day. It opens into a sub range. So it's a big green push, green leg up, first entry short, second entry short, no setups here. I also want to say that there were a lot of second entries all over the place today, but the context or just a little extra reassurance of them setting up at key entry points or not being too far or not being on the opposite side of the overall market context. So that kind of discounted a bunch of second entries. So I'm not going to go through every second entry, but I'm just going to go point out the ones that I saw. I'm sure I missed some. So it's in this consolidation area. And I actually thought this is the first possible trade. So it's in this consolidation now as a break of this green up channel. It looks like it's one leg up, pullback, second leg up. It didn't test and make a new high yet, but it looks like it's in a trading range and there's multiple tests at this resistance area. What I'm expecting is there's this big leg up, two legs down. I'm expecting one leg, consolidation sideways, and then another leg. But in the smaller time frame, I also saw as a new low here, say first entry short, and then a hidden second entry short, all on the same candle. There's enough room to scalp up before he hits the bottom. So I thought this was a possible trade, but I I wasn't really ready to take this. I just kind of watched it, thought it might be a possible trade there. And it does kind of work out. Let's see, from here to about here. Yes, it would have been very close if you took it at the close to get your 5 point scalp. Pushes up. If you didn't, you likely would have gotten stopped out here. I'm okay not taking this trade because, as I said, I was expecting one leg up, sideways consolidation, another leg up. So I really don't know when that's going to happen. It was also right above the EMA. Prices move, pushes on this orange up channel. Orange up channel tests and makes new high, and then starts reversing. It's like first entry long, pull back. You have a second entry long, far from the EMA, no real setup there. It pushes down, and it looks like this is the pre-market open, and it looks like it bounced off of here. So this green down channel, I mean, you could have tried to attach it here, but I just felt like the real move started here, so that's where I attached my green down channel. Pushes down, it's a break of this orange up channel. You technically have a first entry short here. You have a second entry short here. I didn't label it because at the time I didn't trust or have this yellow down channel in effect. So it looks like it is first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short's decent, but I didn't mark it because I didn't like that it closed above the EMA and the body backed up away from the EMA. So there was some buyers that pushed it up. So it's a little ambiguous. This break of this orange up channel could be argued that it tested the high, but it's just barely. So it's kind of this ambiguous thing. Prices then continue moving down. It's a new high here. It's a technical first entry long, pullback, second entry long failure, but you're kind of pushing right into this little mini support area. So I left that alone. Another another push up. I established this yellow down channel. So it's moving along. You're just playing the down channel on the yellow. Then it kind of starts pushing down. It breaks through this yellow down channel. I'm thinking maybe it's going to be a move up to at least the EMA and then a rejection, or maybe a push to the other side. But this is a tiny break considering the overall bias of this thing. It keeps pushing down. Now it breaks through. So it's not really fitting the orange channel all that well. I draw this pink or this purple down channel. It looks like it fits pretty well. No setups though. And it kind of sets up for my one and only trade. My one and only trade, I'm going to admit, was aggressive. So in hindsight, I don't think I should have taken it. Hits the low, pushes up on this green up channel, makes a first entry long, pullback. Count resets because it made a same highs, but it is a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. You count it that way. It's also a new low, first entry short, second entry short, second entry short, about to fail. So here it does confirm a failed second entry short. It made pretty much the same resistance right here, but I figured if it actually pushes up, I was thinking the same thing happened here, except on a smaller scale. It was push, sideways consolidation. I was expecting another leg up here to maybe test the high side of this yellow down channel. Now it is risky, but I like the close of this candle. So I entered right here. I think it's one tick above. And in this case, I wasn't even going to try for a runner. So I just entered and took the whole position off completely for my 1 point scalp. So pushed up. I wasn't going to try to go for a runner because I just felt a little iffy. In this case, a runner probably would have worked because, well, I take it back. The runner would have likely gotten stopped out on this candle if I didn't get stopped out here. So in this case, not having a runner kind of paid off, pushes it to the high side. Consolidates, kind of oscillates. I don't know if the EMA is going to actually act as support now. Let's say first entry long, pullback, second entry long below the EMA. I don't really like that. It starts pushing up on this. And I look back and I think, okay, there looks like just one big leg here. I'm looking for where it's going to peak and then draw a second larger measured move down. Moves up in this orange up channel. After it moves up like this, I establish it because I saw good touch confirmations on the low side and on the high side, but no setups. Hits this sideways trading range. Sets up what I think is another possible trade. So it's in the sideways consolidation, had a fail breakout, made a first entry long, pullback. This is on the technical count, I guess the second entry long because this one is higher than this one, but I also saw it as one leg down, one leg up, and another leg down. So I saw it as a visual first entry long, pullback, visual second entry long, also a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short's about to fail. I like that this break of this orange up channel did break, test the high, but the way it was looking and the way the EMA is starting to hold support, I thought there was enough room. There actually is enough room, just barely, and enough momentum to maybe get a quick scalp out of it. It was a little more aggressive for sure. It would have worked. Pushed up, consolidates, breaks out of this green up channel, and I counted it as a break and tested the high. So this would be a lower high, but it's a green bar and it's far from the EMA. Pushes down on this orange down channel, hits this kind of sideways consolidation. There are second entries by the technical count, but it's a little ambiguous what's actually happening. It's a high, comes down, kind of oscillates, chops. I saw kind of a measured move, but then it kept going. So this measured move kind of becomes less important. Chops around, moves down on this yellow down channel, creates a new low, pushes up, it creates your first entry short right here. And then you technically have a second entry short here because it moved one tick above and flashed back down. But I didn't like that it closed above the EMA too far. The body's too far from the EMA. Just kind of leave it alone. I did see it as one leg down, possible second leg down, but I'm not going to go long off of this candle. Now I'm thinking maybe there's a long here, in which case it does work because you have break of the yellow down channel, test of the new low, pushes up. I just didn't like that it closed right at the EMA. If it closed more bullish at the highs, then I think it might have been a trade because you're working with a kind of a mediocre signal bar for a second entry long. Drops around, kind of hits this area where I think there's a support here, bounces. I'm thinking, okay, am I going to develop into a trading range here? So it's a break of this green down channel, makes one attempt up, pull back, second attempt up. Also a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Okay, so it's a little confusing. It's for sure sideways. I'm not exactly sure what the bias is because you had this huge sell-off, a bunch of legs up, kind of these ambiguous legs coming up and down. So I'm not really sure which way the market wants to go yet. So I do what I do best is just kind of just sit on my hands and hope something more obvious sets up. There's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long failure, but this actually technically hasn't failed yet. And if it was going to fail, you're kind of selling into the support. It fails, but now the trade's already, it's too late to try to take this scalp. Pushes out, pushes, kind of starts moving down on this green down channel. This pre-market high and pre-market low kind of came, the pre-market high for sure is not useful in any way right now. And the pre-market low is a little bit kind of showing some bounce points. So it comes back down, pushes up, hits this EMA, no setup, pushes up, break of this red up channel, test the high, and it's coming back down. So you do have a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but it's an inside bar, so I'm not that happy with it. Presses sideways, kind of moves up in this orange up channel, starts pushing up again. It's a little ambiguous here. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. I just know prices are kind of sideways, so I'm not trying to take any trades. Plus, you can tell this is only about 4 points of price action in this big choppy area. Pushes up on this yellow up channel. No clean second entry long, so I'm looking for a reason to go long. Hits a high, creates a first entry long, and then that's all you get, and it starts pushing down. You could say this is a lower high, but the lower high, indeed, I mean, it is a lower high, but it's just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's not really confirming anything. You have this yellow up channel break. You do want to test the high. You could argue that since it opened here and it kind of closed back here, maybe this is an attempt. I'm not sure. Then pushes down, creates a new low. It's a first entry short, technically a second entry short, pushes up, then it makes a new low. So I started the count here again. So it's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. Second entry short technically hasn't confirmed yet, but you have a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Second entry long, also second entry short. Second entry long hasn't failed yet, so you can't call it a failure, and the second entry short hasn't confirmed yet. So everything kind of depends on what the next candle is, but it looks like it's a possible short trade. The break of this purple up channel has tested the high. Technically, the yellow down channel, orange down channel wants to test the low, so this would be first attempt down, could be the second attempt down. Definitely a little more aggressive for me. I did like that this is a strong signal bar pushed above and then pushed down. The only better setup would have been, because this would be the signal bar for the second entry short, would have been a close at the low. In this case, it works. So it's a first entry long, second entry long failure, and it's first entry short, second entry short failure. But if you're not on the trade now, it feels too late that you're running into a potential support area. But then it just keeps going further down. Prices move, so it's a break of this yellow down channel. I saw this as a new low. It's a first entry short, pullback. I saw this in real time, but I couldn't justify taking it or marking it as a second entry short hidden. I like that it moved one tick above and then it flushed engulfed this entire candle. So it's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short, trigger bar, and signal bar all in the same candle. The problem is it pushed too far now because my concern is there a potential bounce or support zone here? Because it already broke through my yellow down channel. Now this yellow down channel might not even be drawn correctly, but it broke and it kind of tested the low. So is it going to make a second attempt down? I'm not sure. So being a little ambiguous and it's far from the EMA, it's just a lot of things says it could go short, but a lot of things say it could also just bounce right here. So I left it alone. In this case, it would have worked. And then you get a lower high here, but again, it's like first entry long, second entry long, or if you just saw it as a lower high here, technical first entry long, second entry long failure, it's already pressing toward the low of this area. So I'd left it alone. Pushes up. I draw this red trend line support, and I kind of fitted a resistance, down trend line resistance and down trend line support, but I don't really trust this as a channel just yet. Kind of oscillates. It makes a new low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. This has actually happened, like, I think rather quickly, so you'd have to be quick. The thing is, it's a really small second entry short, but what's going for it, no, I think it's a possible trade, is it did tick above and then also tick below. So this is a clear, valid first entry short. Does the same thing here. Ticks above and also pushes and closes below. So this is a valid first entry, valid second entry. EMA is holding. There is a small break, but it looks like this red down channel is holding prices down. So there is enough room from here down to here for 1 point scalp. So I actually thought this is a decent setup. It's very tight, but it is meeting the criteria of 2 legs up. Then prices push down, hits this localized low, reverses, it breaks out of this red down channel. So this is what I'm thinking, okay, is 1 leg down, and at the time I had the other leg drawn here, actually more here, but as you can see, sneak preview, I put it over here, and you can tell there's still so much price action, which is kind of crazy because I've been talking for a while, and this just watching this in real time was mentally exhausting. So it pushes up on the screen up channel. It's the first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short failure. It's far from the EMA. I'm not really keen on this because it's also break this orange up channel, test the high already. So I don't think after seeing this candle, I don't see any good reason why it would keep going up, especially after this big red down channel push. Now, this red down channel might not be fully valid either, so I'm not 100% sure. Best to sit on my hands. Pushes up. As an overshoot here is the first entry long, second entry long, it's bad signal bar. You also have a new low here. It's the first entry short, second entry short, but this bar is actually still inside this one. So it's safer to wait for a lower high, which you don't really get, and it just kind of flushes down. Which is, it creates double bottom low here. It's a first entry short, pullback. You don't really have a second entry short, but you have a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. It feels like this could be starting to develop into another sideways range. So I'm not going to be buying the second entry long off a terrible signal bar, even though the trigger bar is engulfing, when I don't really have any more room to scalp. But I did see it in real time. I had a hunch. I marked these just so I have it in my notes, like maybe my hunch, there's something here that I don't quite have the skill level to read into. Maybe the gut feeling is something valid, that even though there's a resistance here, maybe this is a possible trade. But in the moment, I don't think it is a trade. But I'm marking these just for myself and in my journal. So I know if I see things like this, there might be something here that's triggering that gut punch. It could be nothing. It could just be, just a random thought. So marked it with a black arrow, pushes up, kind of sets up this trade. It's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. Technically, there's a second entry long here, but I saw this 1 leg down push up, part of the second leg, and then this is second leg push up. So I call it a more of a visual first entry, second entry, also a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short has truly failed. So I actually thought this is a possible trade. And if you're counting as a first entry long pullback, second entry long, this could be considered a higher low. So it has all the makings of a potential long trade here. And I did see this yellow channel support here as another potential key entry point. I like that it was above the EMA. Again, I'm seeing this as the pre-market low, but the pre-market low could actually be right here. So there, it also fits pretty well if you drew it right here where this red dot is. So I wasn't too concerned that I'm actually going to have a fail breakout because price action really isn't respecting this line that I drew here, and it's not really respecting the pre-market low right here that much either. So it wasn't that big a concern. So I thought there was a possible long here. Turns out would have worked. Kind of chops. Looks like it falls into this sideways consolidation. It's just noisy. I I looked at this. I was trying to mark trades and see if there was actually anything valid, but it doesn't really feel that way. So there's a new low. It's a first entry short, and it pushes down. Another first entry short. Another push down. So you're only getting like really first entry shorts. Pushes down on this kind of sideways consolidation. Really slow. Not really slow, but really tight trading here. It's a new low. It's a first entry short right here. You don't really get a let's see, let's go ahead and zoom in. You have a new low, you have a first entry short right here when it breaks below this red bar, pushes up, and then it kind of creates a second entry short here, but it wasn't really a clean setup. This signal bar is inside to this one. I did like that it bounced off the EMA, but it's kind of the wrong colored bar, so no real trade. It pushes down on this yellow, well, actually on this resistance, and I actually had this higher and higher up here, but then it broke out and it looked like it followed this red down channel. And it's kind of like this deja vu repeat of what was happening back here. This bigger yellow down channel, and then there was a sub red channel happening. So I was thinking, okay, this could be kind of this weird repeat of what I'm thinking is going to happen. It pushes down, breaks, pushes up. You don't really have a first entry short till about right here. And then here, there's a potential second entry short. There's a second entry short here. So at this point, I'm wondering if the trading trend channel is actually maybe lower to here. Kind of moves sideways. I didn't draw it, but probably should have. There's a sideways consolidation, but the price action is kind of tight. Even if you took the second entry short, I don't know, it was like a break of this green up channel. It made one attempt up. I'm wondering if it's going to make a second attempt up. In this case, signal bar is about 11 ticks. Let's see if you wouldn't, if I try to take this trade, it's just about 5 ticks, so it's just barely. So better that I was probably mentally not fully there to see it. To try to even tempt that trade. Pushes down, hits a new low, pushes up. So there's a new low here. You technically have a first entry short here, but I saw as one big leg. So I actually counted the first entry short here, pull back, second entry short, break of this green up channel has tested the high. So there's reason to believe it could be coming back down. This yellow down channel does want to test its low. So maybe there's a trade here, but it feels, let's see. No, I take that back. I mean, there is a second entry short here if you discount the small little break here. Decent signal bar. Actually, I will mark it. I was thinking at the time wasn't really that great, but it seems like it might be okay because it's going with the overall main bias. And I just want to go ahead and point out that I saw this one big leg down, push up. I was thinking the second leg here, whether it starts here, because when I actually had it up here, it already exceeded this move. So I was thinking it's actually one leg down, two attempts up, another big leg down. So it's like one, two legs down, another push up. But I actually put my big start of the second leg down starting from here. It didn't really help out, so it didn't really matter how I drew it. So second entry short here, maybe it's trade here, new high. It's a first entry long pullback. Second entry long. Second entry long, I call it an almost trade because it's a break of the screen up channel, test the high. Yellow down channel does want to test the low. It's a break. Looks like it's break, one attempt down, push up. There could be a potential second attempt down, but I didn't have this blue channel support drawn at the time. So I couldn't really say this is a key entry point because I was thinking, okay, there after the fact, then I drew this in. So it's hard for me to say it's a key entry point. The only thing going for it is push one break, one tick below and a strong close. But I also didn't like that it was right at the EMA. If it at least engulfed this one or closed at the high, then I would have maybe considered it. But other than that, I called it an almost trade. Now that it pushed up, I was looking for it as a potential higher low, but I also drew this blue channel now. And I was thinking, I'm actually at the high. I don't want to take a higher low and press against a high that might be a resistance. Goes back down. So now I'm trusting this blue up channel a little bit more because it looks like it's one touch, two touch, three touch, four touch confirmation. So it's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. I didn't like the look of the signal bar. Pushes back down. Here I was thinking, okay, am I going to get another bounce? It failed to meet the other side. So just watching carefully. Ideally, you get a second entry long here with a break above the EMA, but then it broke down and through. So then I just abandoned the thought of a trade. Which is down this orange down channel. And I want to say, like, this is 12 o'clock now. There's only 1 hour left. I've been sitting through this pretty busy day, and I took one trade, which was aggressive. But at this point, seeing what I had marked up and going back and trying to review if I missed anything, I was pretty mentally spent. Like on a day like this, where there's just so much price movement and a lot of FOMO that I had to fight because, I wanted to be on this big move. I wanted to be on this big move. But there was like, was there any justifiable reason for me to have even been able to jump on those? Hard to say. I was kind of surprised that this move looked like it was a repeat of this move. But again, there was no justification for me to try to even jump on these big moves. So it was certainly some FOMO because I was thinking, wow, could have made if I was better or more keen, maybe made a lot more money today. But trying to put that behind me and try to just be happy that I got a trade and it was profitable considering it was kind of mediocre. So it's a new low, it's a first entry short. Technically you have a second entry short here. It's kind of hidden by this guy. Let me just get it out of the way. First entry short, second entry short, didn't touch the EMA, so didn't really like it. There's a new low here. It's a visual first entry short, pullback, second entry short. You could do the visual first entry short, second entry short, measured move. So I thought there was a potential trade here because there's a break of this orange down channel. Depending on how you drew it, you could say there's a break here, but it still wants to test the low. So it's first up, one attempt down, second up, second attempt down. Decent push below the EMA, possible trade. I like the way it closed. Now, I didn't take it though. Then I also saw a potential new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long has failed. Also saw a new low, first entry short, pullback. On the same candle, it creates a second entry short that's hidden. So I thought, okay, there's actually good reason to believe there could be a potential trade here because it is two key entry points. EMA is holding. This green down channel doesn't exist. This orange channel needs to test this low. This red channel needs to test this low. So there's a good reason to go take this trade. Would have worked. I didn't take it. I think I was just mentally fried. Price then continue moving down. Moves down on this green down channel. Hits this low. Say first entry short, and that's all you get. But you also see a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Unfortunately, this is a wrong colored candle. If it had been green, maybe there's a trade there because you would expect the break of this orange up channel to test the high. But I don't like that it's a red versus green candle. The prices continue moving down. It creates a new low. It's a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. It's bad signal bar, bad trigger bar. This spindly kind of consolidation, I'm not that keen on. It just gets really noisy. The new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long failure, but this second entry long is just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And you have like dojis and you have all this strange like consolidation, just spindly price action. It's a new low. It's a first entry short, kind of hit another first entry short. There's a second entry short here, but this is also near the end of the day. And I was watching, I was like, wow, there's a lot of price action today and a lot of volume. I'm not going to risk anything, especially when there's only 10 minutes potentially left. So I'm just going to go with zoom forward. You can tell, even with only 10 minutes left, you got a lot of candles still printing. The sell-off continues. it was just a really high volume, high volatility day. It was more mentally exhausting for sure. I could tell it myself because I was just kind of, my mind was starting to drift. I was starting to, especially seeing these big moves, getting FOMO. So I pretty glad that I only took one trade, but that one trade was mediocre compared to the other setups that I did see. So hopefully tomorrow is also, high volume day, but maybe a little bit more obvious for me. So hopefully that was helpful.